This episode is about the underground cities of Cappadocia. Thousands of years ago, people lived in these ancient caves and used the tunnel systems to confuse enemies. We have discovered many underground cities in Cappadocia, and Kaymakli is the largest underground city we can visit. So today, we will be discovering 4 levels underneath the ground in this ancient place. Even though we name them the underground cities, these caves were mostly used to store food supplies during peaceful times. People lived in these caves only during invasions. As we explore the underground city, you'll understand why. You can use this episode as an audio guide and listen to it as you visit the site. We will be talking about all the levels of the underground city and its history. The first level at the entrance is the only way in and out. This was where they kept the animals. It was convenient as they brought the animals here into the very first level, so they didn't have to lose time trying to drag the animals into the lower caves. Here, we can see all the holes that were used to keep the food for the animals. Also, you might notice some smaller holes on the walls where a rope could be tied so the animals wouldn't stray. It was a cave where they kept small and medium-sized farm animals that could contribute to the food supplies of the community. After this cave, we'll follow the red arrow and go through the very first tunnel of the underground city. When you reach the second level, you'll need to decide whether to visit the rest of the underground city or make an early exit. Some of the tunnels after the second level are quite small, and you'll need to crouch through the tunnels in order to pass. It's crouching, not crawling, so it really isn't that bad. Still, it's usually not recommended for people with a serious case of claustrophobia or respiratory issues. If you'd rather go out, follow the blue arrows in the second level after you visit the cave church. For now, we follow the red arrow and step inside the cave church that has some simple decorations. As I mentioned, these caves were not their permanent homes. As they lived here only during invasions, the church is like a place of worship inside a bunker. It has no paintings at all. There are some basic decorations such as crosses carved on the walls. In front of the main apse, there's a small altar with a relief of the Tree of Life. If you look through the window on the right side, you can find a room full of tombs. You will be following the tunnel which is to the left of the altar inside the church. As we walk through this tunnel, we can see some small rooms with many holes in the ground or holes along the walls. These were storage areas of the community. The volcanic tuff rock of Cappadocia helps with the insulation of these caves. And if you dig deep enough, the temperature inside the cave will be constant. Meaning, during the whole of summer, it will stay at around 70 Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius inside the caves, even when it's about 100 Fahrenheit or 40 degrees outside. In Cappadocia, it snows during the winter months. It's between 20 and 30 Fahrenheit or 0 to -5 degrees outside the caves. While inside the caves, it's about 60 Fahrenheit or 15 degrees Celsius. This constant temperature means food will survive for a longer period of time, and that's why these caves were the permanent storage areas of the city above. We'll take the small tunnel on the right side of the main storage area. This is the smallest tunnel in the underground city, and it takes us to the third level. When you go through this tunnel, take the first exit to your right. Inside the third level, to your left, is the winery. It is a pool where they crush the grapes. The liquid would flow through the small hole into the basin, and that's how they collected the grape juice. In the same level, you can find more storage areas and bedrooms, but the interesting part of this level is the stone door. There is a round-shaped stone that fits in a small opening behind 2 columns. Pushing this wheel door to close it was easy enough. But for an enemy coming through the tunnel from the other side to open the door is very difficult. There are no handles and space for only one person who could try to open the door. Defending soldiers could just use the hole in the center of this door to attack with spears or bows and arrows. The attackers on the opposite side would not be able to defend themselves as they were in a crouching position. To make things worse for the enemies, in order to fit through these small tunnels, they would have to leave their bigger weapons and heavier armor outside. So they had simple daggers, maybe short swords, and probably no shields. This was obviously why the original builders of the underground city made the tunnels so small. The tunnel on the left of the door will take us deeper into the underground city. Just around the corner is the longest tunnel you need to go through. You may notice palm-sized cutouts inside the tunnels. They were actually carved out to hold small lamps, and these lamps burned linseed oil, and they were the primary source of light. Halfway along the tunnel is a window on the left. This is an opening into the ventilation shaft that still works today. As you get closer, you will be able to feel the fresh air. The small holes along the shaft were used to climb up or down the shaft. This ventilation shaft reached so deep into the ground that it was also used as the water well. To protect this source of water from being poisoned by the enemies, and also to keep it hidden, the shaft didn't extend straight up to the ground level. There were corners, so someone looking down would only see a hole that wasn't deep at all. In fact, the ventilation shaft is about 180 feet or 60 meters deep. Just as the people living in the underground city needed air to survive, this audio guide needs your support to thrive. If you're finding this guide helpful, please leave a quick rating or review. It's the best way to support us, so take a second and press that like button. After this short ad but long tunnel, the next cave is on level 4. It is the deepest level we can reach today. The empty pools in the ground were used to crush the grapes, and what looks like urinals for men were actually used to secure wine jugs. Let me tell you why there are so many wineries here, so deep inside the underground city, and not up in the ground level. If you remember, the caves maintain a constant temperature. Throughout the year, it stays between 60 to 70 Fahrenheit, or 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. This means the caves are naturally ideal places to store wine. These ancient people must have discovered this, so they brought the grapes they cultivated in this region into these caves and stored the grape juice here so it could ferment into wine. When a merchant needed more jugs of wine to sell, only then they would bring it out of the caves because this temperature is ideal to store wine. The tunnel that goes straight up takes us into the kitchen area. Even before we leave the tunnel, we can find multiple caves on the two sides that seem to be covered with a black soot. They built fires and cooked in these caves. Although there was a ventilation system, the porous tuff rock absorbed the smoke and became pitch black. That's how you can tell if a cave was used as a kitchen in Cappadocia. There's a round-shaped basalt rock you can find in the kitchen. The many holes on the surface of this rock are man-made, and as this was the kitchen, it was probably used to grind herbs and spices. After the kitchen, we will follow the red arrow next to the round-shaped basalt stone. There will be some steep stairs, low ceilings, and deep holes around you, so do be careful. As you explore the next tunnels and caves, let's talk a bit about a history and the practical use of underground cities. The first people who lived in the underground cities were the Hittites, probably more than 3,000 years ago. It didn't only belong to the Hittites though. All the civilizations that lived in Cappadocia used the underground cities as a place of refuge and also stored their food in these caves. Just to mention a few of these civilizations, Hittites, Persians, Greeks, Romans, and Turks all reigned here at one time in history. Somehow, during human history, we forgot about the existence of the underground cities. Kaymakli Underground City was discovered in 1957 and opened to the public in 1964. If you have visited the center of Cappadocia, you probably know that people lived in caves near the surface. Those are cave houses where a single family lived. The caves we're in right now inside the underground city belong to the community. That is one of the main differences between a cave house and an underground city. Also, the underground cities were not permanent living areas. So these people used the caves to keep the civilian population safe during wars. Women, children, elderly or disabled men who could not fight took refuge in the underground city. They would hide here for months. There are 4 levels that we can visit today. There used to be 8 levels, but the lower caves collapsed, and that's maybe why they stopped using the underground cities. The city also covers a wider area than we realize. More than 6,000 people took refuge here. The arrows take us only through a specific portion of the underground city. But as you can imagine, there are many more caves and tunnels that create this ancient maze. Before you follow the blue arrows and leave, you can also explore on your own to see more of the caves. Most of the groups will be following the directional arrows, so if you intentionally take a wrong turn, you can find a quiet corner of the underground city. Thank you for visiting the underground city with us today. If you enjoyed your visit here, you might want to check our other episodes of Cappadocia as we navigate this unique region, discovering cave churches and communities. If there's a destination you'd like to hear about, or if you need help planning your own adventure in Turkey, reach out to us at info@realturkeytours.com. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a journey. Until next time.